Okay, this is Ieli Irava, who's the ex-principal of Malhaha High School. First question, Ieli, is how would you say Rotuma has changed from the time that you were young? What are the most significant changes that you've noticed?
Well, there's been a lot of change since I was young. I think one of the big changes that's taking place is education. A lot of Rotumans well educated now than used to be before. Possibly the link between that change and what is happening in Rotuma now is to be a shift into the urban centers of Fiji. Whereas before, when I was young, every few years, one or two Rotumans would be accepted into Fiji schools from Rotuma. Whereas now, the number has increased tremendously. Another big change now is the imputation of money into Rotuma has made a tremendous change in the life of the people. Particularly so in kinship obligations. Whereas before people looked to each other for assistance in undergoing or doing big projects like building a house. Normally when you build your house, people just come and work. You don't have to approach them. People see it as a sort of an obligation that you come and help you. And of course you will feel the same. You see someone else building a house, automatically you think of mental health. Money has made a lot of change in this respect. You no longer have people coming to you offering their free services. They expect you to pay for these services. And you see that the whole system of the reciprocity has disappeared almost completely at this moment. Even very close relatives has disappeared. Another change, of course, is the political change that has come. The old traditional system of having chiefs and sub-chiefs, I think it has broken down. In the olden days, people have a lot of respect for their chiefs. They feel it their duty to carry out the instructions of chief's wishes, and of course the relationship between the chiefs and the people are very formal. Whereas today, I think Rotuma operates on a system where we say that it's a big man system. Whoever is successful in life, I suppose, gets more respect than the actual traditional chiefs themselves. As I see it, the chiefly system is not very suitable for Rotuma. I think that as it stands at the moment, there is a need for reorganization. I think the present system of the chiefly system in Rotuma is not an advantage to development. I think it's an hindrance, really. And I think to develop Rotuma, in order to go along with the world claim today, we need to reorganize the whole system, possibly get the chiefs to be part of the community as it was in the old days, where they look after the communal things within the community. Let the people who are trained to handle things for the government. Possibly, I think it will, in this case here, help the development of the island better. But that is something that we have to educate the Rotuma to accept, particularly the chiefs. I know it won't be very easy to initiate that move, because there would be a lot of opposition to it from the chiefs themselves. But I think it's a necessary change that will eventually come.
You've already answered the question about money and how money has changed life in Rotuma. One of the things about money is that some people seem to have a lot more now than other people because their children may send more money from overseas or so on. Does that make a difference in the way life is lived? The fact that some people seem to be getting more money from abroad, for example, than others?
Well, I suppose to a certain extent, yes. But broadly speaking, I don't think it has that much influence on life in general. The only thing I can say is that people who get that easy money don't really make use of that money properly. When people earn the money, I suppose, themselves, they feel it is their responsibility to see that that money is well spent. I suppose it's a natural thing that when you get something free or from an easy source, that you don't really take the trouble to see that it is well invested.
So now you think people are more frivolous with money because they're getting it without having to work for it?
In a sense, yes, I think that is quite true in many cases.
Okay, what would you say, from your standpoint, is the best thing about living in Rotuma?
Well, I've lived in several countries. Gone through New Zealand and lived a lot in Fiji. Living in Rotuma is quite different. In these places like Fiji and in New Zealand, when you leave your house, it is necessary that you make sure that the house is secure before you leave it. Whereas in Rotuma, you don't do that. The house is left open because there is no question of people entering the house illegally. Possibly in some cases today it would, with the impact of people coming in from these places to stay. A lot of Rotumans going to these places and coming back, bring with them the habits of the people that they come into contact with. But living in Rotuma is something that is unique from a lot of places where you feel free. There is no fear of losing your belongings when you leave the house. Also in Rotuma you have so much resources that there is no question of your going hungry, because you have, even if you are a very poor person, you don't have that much copper. You don't get that much money from your children who are overseas. You can still exist in Rotuma in a very simple way. There are a lot of food around, a lot of resources from the sea, and I believe that you can live with very little money on the island and have a very healthy way of life. Crime in Rotuma is very few. You don't hear of very serious crime being committed daily in Rotuma. But I suppose that the impact of outside influence will eventually change this. But at the moment I think it's something that you enjoy living in.
And what would you say are some of the worst things about living in Rotuma?
Living in Rotuma, I would not say, as far as I'm concerned, there are very bad things. Except, of course, that from time to time you hear of political frictions within certain communities, some traditional frictions. But there is no the really bad thing that you say, some of the worst situations that you find in other countries exist in Rotuma. I, for one, would prefer to stay in Rotuma. And I have no intention of moving out of the place. Even after retirement, I find it very pleasant to enjoy life here. Take it easy for myself, for family. There's no mad rush from place to place. We seem to take things easy.
Okay, what would you say are some of the most important problems that need to be solved that Rotuma faces now?
I think the underlying problem in Rotuma is to get people educated enough to see things in a very liberal way. Traditionally, people seem to think that the whole problem in Rotuma lies very much on the political setup and the traditional systems. I think to solve all of this, I think you need to understand the Rotuman situation. People in traditional societies like in Rotuma very easily align themselves with certain parties existing within the community, and you easily get yourself involved in it. Some of us, or some of the Rotumans, I would say that they align themselves with certain parties without really understanding what they are getting themselves involved with. I think if we educate the people in Rotuma to make decisions because of what they see rather than what they feel, I think possibly we can solve a lot of the problems. A lot of frictions that is happening in Rotuma, traditionally or politically, I think all boils down to this fact that people seem to take part in political or traditional struggles without actually understanding what the they are involving themselves with. Once they really understand that, I think that people will be able to make better decisions as to what to do and what not to do.
Are there any steps that can be taken to see that those kinds of changes come about? I mean, what do you feel can be done to help to solve that problem?
As I see it, I think it would be very difficult to take the necessary steps at the moment. There would be, of course, a lot of opposition. You can't really start some moves or any moves to solve these problems without facing or getting opposition from one or other groups of people. Take, for example, the fact that I mentioned that one of the solutions that I see to the problem is to reorganize the chiefly system. And if you try to do that, there would of course be a lot of opposition from the chiefs. A lot of people would see it as a breakdown of the tradition of Rotuma to do that. I would say that it would be not very easy to initiate moves to solve all of these problems. I suppose later on when people were more educated in the Western system of thinking, then perhaps it would be easier then to initiate all of these moves.
Do you think education might be one of the ways in which some of these changes might be brought about?
Well, I think so. Education, of course, does not really mean educating people in the Western way of life. I think education, as I see it, is also traditional in the Rotuma way of thinking. You have to understand how the Rotumans think and the way things are organized before you can really plan to educate the people. Because I think within the Rotuman community there is a lot of underlying, I would say, things that are really hard to understand unless you really know the kinship system in Rotuma. Knowing very little of the way the people align themselves or relate themselves to other people, it would be very difficult to work out anything in this respect.
How about if there were something in the schools that, for example, taught people how to debate or make decisions or to plan for development. Are these things present in the school now?
In Rotuma, no. I think the education system in Rotuma is teaching formal subjects. In the Rotuman custom classes that are being taught in Rotuma now, it's mostly to do with traditional ceremonies and customs. There's no formal education as far as trying to educate people to see beyond the traditions of Rotuma.
Thank you very much, Ieli.
Thank you.